Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the very first post BBA podcast. I have some special guests for you. First off, we have Zakir Patwa. He's 18 years old, currently at the University of Texas, originally from Austin, Houston,
Austin. Yeah.
Austin. Next we have Alisager Zohair. He is still in high school, 16 years old, a part of the championship team, second BBA. Oh, I didn't give your credentials, sorry. And then the last guest we have is an unk, as the kids like to say. Taha Khanshab, 40 years old, from New York, Manhattan, New York. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
guys.
me.
Thanks for having us. The
So
champs are
first,
here. Sorry. Go ahead.
um, so how is it being a first time captain? So this is to Zakir.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun to like get to draw up plays and like scout other teams and everything. It was kind of stressful though, I will say, because like you're almost like the GM and the coach of the team. So as well as playing. So definitely was not easy, but yeah, it all worked out. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so just to give some background, Zakir had been offered the captainship before, because he had played in multiple BBAs, and every single year he was, no, I'm not ready yet. And next year, no, I'm not ready yet. And then finally this year we did an under 30 captains, and he said yes. So this was his first captainship. But because he was saying no a lot, we had captain spots open, and into that gap, Taha Khanshab took over captainships, and he has been a captain two, three times. So how is it not being a captain this year, Taha?
Uh, you know, when I first started being captain, I realized like I don't even want to play if I'm not captain. Just having started in 2015, played under, all the greats, Mustan Riz, Amir, Dawood Bhai. I just feel like I learned the system and didn't really want to follow other people's system anymore. But that quickly changed once like the young guns, Zakir, Alisager Zohair, all these young players started coming up and realizing the way that we saw BBA was changing. And I think really this year, hats off to the committee, really seeing it that the passing of the torch was beautifully executed with these 30 under being captain. I mean, it's a big responsibility. The draft is a huge commitment. And they took it on, and I thought the draft was executed really gracefully and evenly distributed. So,
Yeah,
um,
we'll get to the draft in a little bit, but I want
yeah,
to ask Aliasgar, how is it? This is your second BBA, and I know in the first BBA you played with Kansab, and you also kind of came onto the scene. No one kind of knew who you were, and you're still young, and now you have a chip under your belt. So how was your BBA experience?
I mean, my first year with Taha Bhai, it was a great year. I know we didn't get too far, but it kind of showed me the ropes of how BBA is, how it's played. It's different from your normal basketball with the different rules, the clock, and even just the physicality of it. And then the second year with Zaka, it went great. I would say there was very few hitches. We got it done. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was it playing with Zakir with Kansab? I know Kansab and Zakir had played when he first went into BBA. So how was the chemistry like on this team?
The chemistry was great. Me and Zakir, we really hit it off. And Taha Bhai's defense, along with Hassan's shooting and Yusuf Bhai's rim protection, and our bench was really solid. That really helped. So playing with them was a lot of fun. It was an all-around great experience.
So what was, I guess, how did you guys build chemistry? What were those initial conversations? You guys are on a team together, you start the group chat. What were those initial conversations?
I mean, before BBA started, I mean, it was always we would always put our workouts in the group chat. We would see who was working out. We would make sure everybody was consistently checking in. And then once BBA started, we did a good job of we had calls, to go over our defensive strategy or offensive strategy. And then once BBA started, even then we were still locked in. We still figured out what we were going to do each day. We had a plan for every team, and that really helped. I mean, being prepared for everything. So yeah.
So who is doing the preparation? Was it mostly Zakir? Was it Khanshab? Was it like mutual? Like what was that?
The preparation was mostly done by Zakir, but then he would always ask us our opinions, who thinks like what we should do as a team. But the preparation was done by him, and then we would just we would see, oh wait, we would all give our opinions, and then we'd make a plan.
Yeah, I think having played with both of them, like I walked into this like I'm handing the keys over to these guys. I think Yusuf didn't have as much exposure as well to these two. I was like, this is let them run the show. And I'll be honest with you, like the IQ that they brought to planning and strategizing, the 10 years I've been at BBA, I haven't seen it like that. I've always, in all the teams I played on, I've always managed defensive strategy. Honestly, I was like, I had nothing to offer. Zakir and Alisager Zohair just like had the X's and O's covered. And it got to a point where it was honestly a little bit stressful for Yusuf and I. Like, we showed up BBA Toronto. I was like, did you go over all those plays that Zakir and Alisager thrown our way? And we like studied the night before. We got it done. But like, without that in our back pocket, I feel like we wouldn't have executed it as well. Like we had defense strategy on lock and offensive plays, inbound plays, the whole nine. So they did a great job.
Mhm. So Zakir, I guess what did you draw from to prepare? I mean, I know Mustan has called you an old soul. So did you get some from Mustan? Did you get some from Abbas? Like, or did you get some from YouTube? Where were you pulling your strategies from?
Um, yeah, I definitely use YouTube. But it's difficult because like what me and Ali have learned, like, is that BBA is not the same as high school. It's very different in some aspects, and it's also like the types of players that you have on your team are so much different in how you can actually play to their strengths, and it will actually make a major difference in winning and losing. Versus high school, it's almost like most people are almost like exact replicas, like they play the same way. So yeah, you get those plays off of YouTube, and then you're like, oh, this isn't actually gonna help us be as good as we can be. So get it to the drawing board, start drawing some stuff up on our own. I had like a couple of calls with Ali where I was just like, yo, do you think this would work? And we kind of go back and forth with that. And yeah, it wasn't a couple, it was actually a lot. But yeah, I really appreciated him for, coming in and helping me with that because I think it worked out really well. There was a couple games where we almost ran like the same play like countless times because we had so many options and variations planned in going into this that we knew that it'd be tough to stop. So yeah, it's really helpful to have people like Ali to talk to, and then also we had Khanshab and Yusuf by that were just able to bring in their expertise as well. So yeah.
Mhm. So going back to the draft, how did the draft go? I think tell me to talk about the draft a little bit. Who did you want on your initial team, and then who did you start off with for the auction?
So I would love to hear the opinions from all the other captains as well because for me it was way too much planning went by. Like I spent like many hours a day, which sounds pretty bad, just thinking about how to plan for this. I feel like on the other years, obviously I wasn't captain, but like once you get drafted in, you're usually like helping somewhat with the process. I feel like it was a lot easier because it's like you're on the clock. All right, who's available? In this draft with the auction strategy, I went through nearly almost everyone on the list and thought of how they could possibly fit in with the team. Uh, Last year with Raja, we came so close that I kind of wanted to mimic that. And unfortunately, because Raja and Karimi were both diamond with me, we knew that we couldn't run it back. So I was like trying to build a team that was structured similarly, but it had to be almost all new players. I was happy I got Khanshab to join in again with me. The third time out of 5 years I've played, I've got him. So that's like just so good because the moment I got him, I knew defense was ready. And then once I got Ali, I knew, yeah, we have a backcourt like that. Like they're not gonna teams aren't gonna be able to double team either of us. And we're gonna be able to score in so many different ways. I also got Yusuf Buy for $45, which I heard on a couple podcasts people saying that it sounded crazy, but I feel like I got Ali for literally base price, and then it came down to what is most valuable for our team, and it was the big. Like without a doubt, I was not gonna let that draft go by without getting Yusuf by. And once we got him, I knew that we had a chance. And as long as like I could get through the draft with a team that gave us a chance, it just comes down to playing then at that point. So that was
Mhm.
what it came down to, and I was grateful for that.
Yeah, and then you also got a sleeper, which was Shakir. So how did you identify him in the draft or
Yeah, so I identified him by picking up Ali. I was
oh okay.
Yeah, Hasnain and Ibby were Ali's sleeper picks, so I'm not gonna take any credit for that. These are Ali's friends, so yeah, I'll let him chime in on that. But yeah, they were amazing. Like, yeah, Ali, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with them since I don't know. We've been friends since like we were 6, 7 years old, and then since then it's just been, I mean, I knew Hasnan could shoot. I was like, I've never seen this guy miss, and Ibby was like, I'll come play defense, and I was like, that's all we need. So, and we knew we could get him for base price. We knew we could get both of them for base price. Although I do have a question.
Mhm.
Pre-draft, Hasnan was a gold, and nobody had ever seen him play. Why was that? If you know.
It was probably he's from Houston, right?
Yeah.
So Kusai Kolawala probably recognized, played with him before,
Oh,
maybe.
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe there was like a bunch of Houston runs. So usually we consulted like with all the Toronto people, so we put everyone in good places, and then the Houston people had knew everyone, so then they put them in the appropriate places, and so I mean we can argue about the tiers as much as we want, but I think that
Yeah,
there's sleepers in overvalue on both ways, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
and
we're
just to
go ahead.
sorry, just to chime in on one more thing, like I had texted so many people, and with this auction process, I was set on like for example, just to throw a name out there, Morteza Shabir, I was almost like so set that I was going to get him. Shabir Kitab, I was really set that I was going to get him. And then depending on how the auction goes, next thing you know, it's like it's done and they're gone, right? And then you have to adjust on the fly. The only person I had texted like a lot of people, the only person that I had texted that actually ended up giving me a chance to pick them up was actually Abdul Zahir. And that was huge. Like we'll talk about him more later, like about how he played in the finals. But yeah, like eventually it paid off with the draft process, and yeah, I was just had to had to throw that in there.
Mhm. What was the draft like from your end, Concept? No trades, unfortunately, this year.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, we started out, I thought we were really behind. We had myself, which wasn't going to help Zakir that much, and Feroz by. I remember calling Hatem. I'm like, listen, like, are we ready for these young guys to take over? Like, this draft process is new, and change is always hard, right? But he just reassured me, trust the process, and I'll tell you the biggest surprise of the draft was that Alisager Zohair didn't get bid on. I think it was Tahir Hassan Ali and Tamawala were the three gold platinums left, right? And everyone just picked their own guy, and there was no competition. And that gave us an opportunity to get Yusuf for 45, right? Otherwise, we would have been short a big, and that would have changed our whole team dynamic. With that, we needed that rim protection. So yeah, it worked out. It worked out. I actually kind of, in hindsight, think the committee did a really good job of tiering the players and setting up the draft. So yeah, good job
Yeah.
for that.
Do you guys know who has the highest 3-point percentage on your team?
Hussein Shakir, probably.
No,
Rose
probably
by.
Uh,
something. Yeah,
Oh shoot, yeah. Yo, my fault.
yeah, so Hassan Shakir, he had 35%, and then your dad had 37.5%. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he had big
Um,
threes too.
yeah.
he had one in the finals. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, that was a 2.
They counted it a 2, but man, it
yeah,
felt like a 3. It felt like a 3.
yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
3 in my eyes. That's what I told him.
The dagger.
I think I went 1 for 10.
I was bad too. I was like 2. I was 2 for
Ice
15. Look at
cold.
it. I was bad.
Please, no one look at my stats either.
Yeah.
Let's not go through that.
Stat wise, I was not a good year.
Yeah.
I don't like just looking back at it, it's almost crazy to think that we were able to do so well with how poorly we shot. Like I don't know if we have
Horrible.
to go through I don't know if we have to go through the history books for that one, but man, it was
So
pretty
you
bad.
guys are not giving yourself enough credit because you did shoot poorly from three, but your field goal percentages are very high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 51.8% on field goal
Mm.
percentage.
At an
And then
average?
Ali Zohair has 49%. So those are really high
Oh
field
yeah.
goal percentages. So
Yeah.
your stats aren't that bad. Uh, so yeah. Um, Zakir's 19% 3-point percentage, and
Yo,
then
I said we're not going over that.
okay.
We gotta keep it on the down low.
Don't say mine. I know mine is worse than 19, so just don't say
um, well, room for improvement, I guess.
it.
How did Saturday go? What were some highlights up for Saturday? What do you guys remember? How did you guys gel as a team? Talk to me about Saturday.
Yeah, it felt a lot like the year before when I was with Raja. We just really played very well. I ended up realizing that we were playing so well in the first couple games that we had to start changing things up to prepare for future teams and how we would go about that. Uh, yeah, we ended up trying different defenses, and yeah, it didn't really hurt that they mostly kept working. So we knew that going into Sunday, whichever teams we would go against, we would have like a plan A, B, and C, which was very helpful against teams like the Thunder and also in the finals against Melem's team, where we had to make adjustments throughout the game.
Mhm. What about you guys? What do you guys remember from?
And I mean, to piggyback on that, I think on Saturday, our defense really, we didn't know what defense we wanted to run. We had ideas. Like we knew how to run a 2-3, we knew how to run a 3-2, we knew how we were going to play man. We didn't know what we were going to play. And we resorted to man in the first game or two, and then we realized it's not really working. We switched to a 3-2, and that's what really won us the tournament. That 3-2 defense is what won us the tournament. Because without that, I think if we played man, we would have been gassed, and we weren't good enough man to man to guard every single person. It just wouldn't work. So I think the 3-2 is really what on Saturday that's what we figured out. This is the best defense to run, and then we just stuck with it for the whole tournament.
Yeah, I
What
think.
did you see at? Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Concept.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I remember really anticipating starting off our Saturday playing against Tuza's team. Like on paper, they had Abbas Hussein, Tuza, Haji. I was like, this is really our test. And um, Zakir really pushed for this 1-3-1 zone, and I think that just caught teams off guard. I don't think it's ever been played like the way that we played it. Pushing the point guard to the outside of the court and really trapping them and putting a lot of ball pressure and the passing lane, just like suffocating the passing lane. We got just a lot of turnovers and it was frustrating teams. They couldn't get their offense rolling. So once we got through Tues's team, we just kind of had a good confidence. And then I think Zakir had a notable moment. I actually cramped up the third game, and it was pretty bad. I actually thought I like
Yeah.
pulled my calf or something. It felt like it was a really big shock to me. And thank God for the massage gun, got me through the weekend. But I sat out the fourth game. And Zakir, I told him I can play, and I wanted to really go 4-0. And Zakir, he's like, he told me like, when I spoke with Raja, what happened last year? Why didn't we win the tournament? He's like, because we didn't face any adversity on Saturday and didn't prepare us for Sunday. So he told me to sit. He forced me to sit. And actually, in that Thunder game, I believe we were down right in the first half,
Yes.
Yep.
and that's the first time we were like, "Whoa, Thunder's really good team." And I came back in, but yeah, we ended up persevering through that adversity, and I think that really gave us a lot of confidence going into day two. So that was all Zakir really forcing me to sit down when I kind of wanted to risk it all for 4-0.
Mhm. Well, I do want to mention some stats. What for your steals? What do you think you got? How many steals did you guys get for the tournament?
A lot.
How many
Uh,
steals did Konsam get?
so
Once
I
again, a
want to,
lot.
yeah, just to chime in on that, it's kind of crazy because I think there was a game where he had at least 8,
Oh
and
yeah.
we looked at the stats and it was like 3 or 4, like tops, which I don't, I is pretty underwhelming in that aspect. But yeah, Kansab was all over everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
I mean, he broke a guy and then missed a layup. I can't forget that. I was like
I
jumping up
did
and
too.
down on the
I had too
bench, and then
many of those. Too many of
I see it just hit the rim, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. So actually,
uh,
Konsam had 10 steals.
yeah,
Let's
over
see.
over the tournament,
Over the tournament, yeah.
No.
Zakir, you had
yeah.
12.
I did not
And
have
then
more than
Ali
him. I
has
got
15. So maybe if Konsab's tipping them, but he's not coming up with the ball. You guys are coming up with the ball, so you guys get the steals.
Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a chance. Yeah,
It's
Cherry, I'm
just
deflections.
still on your stats.
Yeah,
they
but
they they had the passing lane on lock, right? So I was adding ball pressure.
And
So
then
it
yeah.
makes sense that you guys got a lot of steals because first of all, I was extremely lucky to have both of you guys, 2 6-footers, long arms in the wing, know how to play defense. I mean, that ball really they didn't have much to pass the ball. Like it was just we were suffocating the passing lanes every
yeah,
single game.
and Hasnan Shakir has 10 as well.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
So
yeah.
had a
That's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you also play more games, but you probably have like top, out of 10 top 10, you probably have 4 guys up there in steals.
yeah.
That's
Um,
nice.
okay, so now let's move to Sunday. What were kind of some high and low points of the playoff run on Sunday?
Yeah, Kansa mentioned it earlier, and I think Ali mentioned it as well. Like our hardest team was definitely the Thunder, I would say. It's unfortunate that they didn't make it as far purely because we just played them so many times. But like, yeah, that fourth game on Saturday actually, where Konstab was out for the first half, and we were down like 10-0. So that was pretty bad. We ended up calling timeouts and adjusting because like Ali said, we were playing a lot of man up until that point. We ended up switching to zone, and we had to really make sure that we're not letting the ball go into Tahir Hassanali in the paint. We can't let Karimi or Hamza Zohair get the ball into him, and we also cannot leave Musa Boy open. Like he was lighting us up. So once we fixed those issues, we came into Saturday and realized we had to play the Thunder again. Sorry, Sunday, and we had to play the Thunder again. So I feel like most of our adversity, which luckily happened on Saturday, Sunday after the Thunder, our like second and semifinals match was pretty smooth sailing. And then of course the finals was pretty difficult as well. But I would say like our lowest point was definitely that Saturday whenever we played the Thunder.
And
Hmm.
to add to what Zakir said, right? I mean, I agree with this thing that Saturday was lowest point. I think Sunday was luckily very smooth sailing for us. I don't think it was a. I would say it was one of like I've only played 2 tournaments, but it felt like that was like we were just like everything was clicking. When one person wasn't hitting shots, another person was hitting shots. If Zakir wasn't making it, I was making it. If neither of us were making it, Stan was making up for it. And to be honest, I mean, just defense carried us through that Sunday. And yeah, I mean, we were all sore from Saturday. We were a little tired, sluggish, but we just pushed through. And yeah,
Yeah, and especially like in adversity, I would say like our bench and our like besides for me and Ali, like the rest of our players really stepped up. Hasnain had like 15 points against the Thunder that game, and I think he did it again on Sunday. He
Yeah,
had like another game where he went absolutely crazy. So, like, yeah, it looks awesome on paper whenever you have me and Ali as a backcourt, and then even in the event that we were getting slowed down, we have someone like Hasnain hitting 15 points. Like it's just we were able to shoot from everywhere, and it was just so helpful.
huge. Yeah,
How
even like it would come in. I've never had this much rest in a tournament, and Zakir just he had a plan and it stuck. Like he had a rotation with minutes. Didn't matter what the score was in the game, what the moment was in the game, and that I've seen many captains struggle with. When you're behind, you kind of stretch your starters and you don't lean on your bench, and that's one thing that Zakir was persistent on. It didn't matter the score or anything. The rotation happened. I think that built a lot of confidence in our bench, and they all had opportunities, and they all I think delivered. Right, I think Abdu had some big rebounds and some big moments. Even when I went to Yusuf, I was like, Yusuf, you got to stay in the game, man. It's tight, and he's like, no, Abdu's got it. And Abdu came back right away and got like a big board. And that's what it came down to is being able to rely on your bench and have them contribute. I think that's huge on day two as well. Everyone's tired too, so
Mhm. So I guess comparing the this year's Sunday's run to previous Sunday's run. So Khanshab has been in the finals 3 times, and then you've also been to the finals 3 times. So comparing this run to previous runs or previous tournaments, what do you guys how what were some differences or what were some similarities that you came from?
I would say that like we said, it didn't really show on the stat sheet because we went undefeated, but we really faced a lot of adversity on Saturday, and we tried so many different things that when it came to Sunday, there was so many different ways that we had won that depending on which team we were going against, we knew how we were going to win that game. And yeah, I mean, there was some games where it was just clicking. I think we went against Husler's team, and yeah, I mean, we just couldn't miss. So that's like a game where it was just smooth sailing. Yeah, I mean, if y'all want to chime in as well.
yeah. I'll
Yeah,
just add like, go ahead, Ollie.
go ahead, Taha. Yeah, you're good.
Um, I was just gonna say that this tournament honestly felt a lot easier for me. I mean, having these two guys and Ib and Hasnain, like these young guys. I mean, I don't even think they were tired, to be honest with you. Like they just were fresh legs and they gave us rest. So it felt a lot easier. A lot of my other finals, it just felt like we grinded so hard to get there, and then you're out of gas at the end and so much pressure. It was a lot easier this time around with these two guys leading the way. So
And also, when Hasnain and Ibi are kind of bored, they tend to run half marathons. So that's also really helped their stamina.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like BBA this year for them was just another weekend for these guys. So they were ready. And with the minute rotation that we talked about, Abdul would come in, my dad would come in. I felt like there was never any hitch in the game. Like, lots of you see a lot of times in the NBA in these playoffs where they're like, oh man, like Jokic just subbed out. How are the Nuggets going to go through? I feel like there was never any issues with that with us. Ibi was able to fill in for Khanshab and play defense. Abdul was able to fill in for Yusuf and get rebounds. My dad came in, helped with the shooting. So there was never really any absence of like feeling from me that we could still stretch our lead, we could still end this game, and I think that really helped.
And so last, we're at the championship game. We're facing another undefeated team with Melo and Jar, who's his team was looking very impressive and was destroying a lot of people. And also were not tired and had a lot of motor as well. So how was your approach to the championship game? How are you planning on containing Maleb? Um,
Yeah, so we really hadn't played a team that played similar to them yet. Obviously, you see people like Malum, Hamza Burhan, Murtaza Shabir that are really good ball handlers. You're thinking they're just going to push the pace. And like every team we had played on Sunday was already, well, except for the first round, every team was already pretty gassed because if you win games, right, you're rewarded with breaks and you're going against teams that have been losing games that have not had breaks. So we were usually able to just outrun our other teams and we'd get away with it. In the finals, however, they were also pretty well rested. So yeah, with Malum, there really isn't much containing we could do. It's he's too good of a player to do that, so it's more so just hoping for the best. Uh, the moment the game started off, Adam Sulemanji scored like at least two or three times in a row,
Yeah.
and yeah, that brought me back to the year prior when Shagir Kitab scored like 7 or 10 points in a row. I was like, oh my God, it's happening all over again. Undefeated, get to the finals, and someone's just gonna go crazy. But yeah, we called timeout, and I will say like the one thing that completely stood out to me is we had three rookies on our team: Husnain, Ibi, and Abdu. Not a single one of these guys were phased. They were all bringing the energy. They were like, "Yo, we can still do this." They were hyping us up. Uh, it wasn't a timeout where we necessarily made an adjustment because I mean, what adjustment is it there to be made whenever Adam Sulemanji is shooting fadeaways? You're like, oh man, this guy's just too good, right? So there wasn't really an adjustment to be made for that, but it was more so just regrouping ourselves. We come out of that timeout. I believe Ibby hit a mid range. Husnain came down, got a fast break layup, or I think if that's what I'm remembering. And yeah, like that was just so awesome to see. These guys are rookies, and in terms of BBA, they're just already ready to win this thing. Yusuf Bai got in foul trouble, which was that was the one thing I would say that we had not experienced yet, and that's why Abdul was like probably the MVP, to be honest, of the finals because this guy came in, right? We had not really played him more than like 8 to 10 minutes a game. So he comes in and now he is what we need to win the game. Adam Suleimani's already been going off. And Abdul comes in, he's boxing him out. He's helping just get Adam Suleimani out of the way, right? Me and Ali would crash the boards as long as we had a lane for it, right? So Abdul's boxing him out. We're getting rebounds. And yeah, I believe then the game ended up being tied going into halftime, or it was like really close, maybe 1 or 2 points. And that's when I knew, like, yeah, we had a shot because Yusufai was out with foul trouble. We had started the game down like by a couple points. And now, I mean, honestly, it was going to be someone was going to step up for the team. So we had to make sure we kept the pace going. But I think Malem ended up having a great second half. And we actually sped up the pace a little bit. So I remember that on the made baskets that they had, we would slow it down, right? We'd set up our offense. Otherwise, we were gone, right? If it was a missed basket, I think Ali had a couple like fast break layups, like in transition. Um, I hit a three or two, and then yeah, that really helped like change the momentum of the game. And then yeah, I mean, after that, we had to just make sure that we played defense. It all came down to defense in the last couple of minutes when both teams went cold, making sure that you always know where Kuseba is. You cannot leave him open for a second. And then, yeah, just getting the rebounds. And that's, I think, what it came down to.
And to add to what Zakir said, right before the finals, we'd already been playing our zone, right? And to be honest, I was like, we got to play man against this team. There's too many shooters. It's not gonna work. We got to play man. We got to switch it up. And Zakir was like, no, we're gonna keep the 3-2. So we kept it. And honestly, it won us the game because both teams were really good defensively. And I think our defense was a little bit better and our offense was a little bit better, which won us that game because it was close and by the end it wasn't, but it was it was close because our defense kept us in. Because if we didn't, I mean, it was a really low scoring game if I recall. So our defense really kept us in that game. And then, like he said, just big shots from Husnan and Ibi, and just everybody contributing a little bit made a big difference.
Yeah, I think the reason why we didn't go man is because you guys pulled me to the side and you were like, "Concept, can you guard Malum?" And I straight up said, "No, no, I'm 40 years old, man. I can't, I can't guard Malum. He's too quick." But I think that just one other thing to add, like the coolest part about Alisager Zohair and Zakir's game is watching them in transition. Like they had some tough defenders that they would be going in transition on a fast break, and the way they finish at the rim is just like one of a kind. Like me, I had a wide open layups and I'd miss them. These guys would be like going past two guys so nice around the rim. And I think those easy buckets just make such a difference. Like in transition, when you can get those easy buckets, it just lifts everybody up. And I want to just say, Malum, to me, showed a lot of growth this year to be able to bring a similar type team that he's been kind of playing with the past few years that hasn't been that successful. I think it all falls on him that he must have, really changed his strategy and matured in his role as captain to make it to the finals in this deep of a, talent pool. So hats off to him. I know we've gone back and forth a couple times, putting some Gulab Jamun on the line on whose team's going to be better. But no, he. I know he really wanted it this year, but he should certainly be proud of his results making it to the finals and knocking off the Pistons team, right? Which
Yeah.
they were scary. I was nervous that we were going to play them. I mean, that would have been a tough team for us too. So yeah, hats off to the Bulls.
Wait, so can you what's the origin of this gulab jamun bet? What's the details? Can you go over that for people who don't know?
I forget. I honestly, it was some banter going back and forth in the captain's chat about who's gonna beat who, and it came down to like a lot of gulab jamuns, and we couldn't really nail down
This
the
was last year
criteria of
though,
the
right?
bet. Huh?
This, this was last
Was
year?
it last year or the year before?
Because you
I'm
had to
not.
be a captain, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, he did have me nervous to be honest. I was talking big, but he had me nervous. He's a great player. He's definitely got some chips coming his way in the future, and I doubt that Alisager Zohair and Zakir will ever get to play with each other again. So now it's going to be, I think, a battle of those three boys with a non in the mix. So it'll be cool to see how they all end up as captains in the future.
Also,
Taha Khanshab can make it
Abbas with
happen.
a
Me and
Abba,
Zach,
Yeah,
I
boss.
Abbas,
mean,
That's what I meant. Yeah,
yeah.
Abbas
Boston,
with a
Adnan. Yep.
Cool. So any, I guess, final thoughts on BBA? Um,
yeah.
Thank you to the committee. I mean, it was you guys hosted a really good BBA. The court, I think, was really good. I know space was like a little bit of an issue, but I thought it was really nice. And the tournament format, as always, was great. Refs good, went by pretty smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the committee and also the sponsors for letting us play this awesome tournament. Yeah, I'm just happy we got to play. I thank Toronto for the hospitality and hosting us. It was a great time, and I look forward to hopefully getting a city versus city this year. I've not heard anything, but we didn't do it last year, I don't think. So let's try to see if we can make another tournament happen.
yes. Speaking of sponsors, thank you for Khanshab and his family for sponsoring the tournament, and contributing. And so what has been contributing and being part of BBA mean to you,
Oh
Khanshab?
man, it's huge, dude. It's been 10 years, like I that's kind of what I kept on saying out loud. Like I waited 10 years for this chip. And the cool part about winning this time, it wasn't because of me or anything, but the fact that I saw the potential in Alisager Zohair early on, I saw the potential in Zakir. I think before everyone else in terms of like what when I was a captain, what I was willing to pay to have them, picking them up early, seeing that these kids are really the future, and the fact that they still wanted to play with me when I'm not the captain, it was very rewarding. But just grinding for 10 years, coming short a couple times, and then being able to get a chip, really, really special. I work as everyone does, worked pretty hard to train for this, to play 2 days. It's a little bit harder for us older folks to kind of be in tournament shape, and especially I got 3 kids, and um, to have them be there, watch me win the chip, them wanting to put my trophy in their room, having my wife there, making new friends. This tournament means a lot to me. It's meant a lot to me the past decade. It's the least I can do, contribute. I want to continue and contributing more. When early on in my life, I always kept my money close. Now it's you got to give back to things that really paid you dividends in your life, and BBA is certainly one of those things. The committee, I'm in awe of what you guys do. The fact that you're even wanting to use your Sunday to talk to us, and I'm sure you guys are already starting to plan for the next tournament. So the committee, I'm very thankful for everything that you guys have created.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up. 3 champions signing off. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and we have an amazing lineup. I think we'll have Yusuf Ali and probably maybe his brother come on next. And yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Tyler.
having us.
All right, thank you